Hello guys, we started a little bit late because I was seeing patients, but thank you very much for those of you out there that are following us. And as we said, we're going to talk about CBD oil, which stands for cannabidiol oil. And I'm going to give a little bit of a background. I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm going to tell you what it does, what it doesn't do, what we know at this point, because everything keeps evolving. And then from there, decide, what are we going to do with it? You always can just send questions, and we're going to be pausing to answer those questions as we go. Should you want to send questions, just go ahead and do that. So in any case, CBD oil, which you guys probably are just listening and hearing a whole lot about it out there, it's cannabidiol oil. And it's actually an extract, it's extracted from the marijuana plant. Marijuana's name, there are three kinds, but the most common one perhaps is cannabis sativa. And as you can see, the resemblance in the name, cannabis, cannabidiol. Now, to put this into perspective, let me just tell you that when I grew up, marijuana was a forbidden topic. I was always told that the moment that I would think about using it, that was going to be the end of my life. And that would be getting into a spiral, downward spiral, getting into a sort of like a funnel where we would never be able to come back from there. And it'll be the end of our life. For that reason, and up to this time, still, I've never ever tried marijuana or any other drug for that matter. In any case, I've gone through med school, and even after having 5 certifications in different medical specialties, I never heard anything medically about marijuana. And nowadays, this is an ongoing topic, and every day we hear more and more about it. So that's the reason we wanted to talk about this. Keep in mind that this is not a talk about marijuana as a drug. This is about the medical effects of CBD oil. So as it turns out, if you take the plant, the marijuana plant, it has approximately 450 or more compounds. Out of those 450 compounds, around 65 or so are in the kind of cannabinoids. So one of those is CBD or cannabidiol, and another one is THC, which is also called tetrahydrocannabinol. That's the one that is psychoactive, psychotropic. That's the one that we're not going to be discussing here because it remains illegal in Texas, and that's something that we do not even know medically right now to the extent to be able to give an opinion. Now, CBD is a different story. It's completely legal. It's considered a nutrition supplement, and we can buy it in many places, which we have to be a little bit careful because they're usually being sold in just any regular store, and we do not know the other ingredients besides CBD. Now, as it turns out, humans, we have a endocannabinoid system. Let me explain what it is. You've heard about endocrinology system. You have heard about other things in our body like hormones. Well, that's our own body system, which is internal to our body. The endocannabinoid system is another system that we have, such as like the heart and here and there. And the endocannabinoid system exists in the brain, and there's receptors for cannabinoids, and in other places in our body. The receptors where CBD oil binds or CBD binds in the brain are called CB1. That's also the one that THC, which is the marijuana per se, binds to and causes psychoactive effects. The other kind of receptor that we have is CB2 that exists in the immune system, pretty much in our muscles, some organs like the liver and other places. That's CB2. So the drug itself, THC, which is the one that works in the brain and makes people high or stoned or whatever you want to call it, that binds to the receptors. As opposed to CBD oil or CBD, doesn't bind anywhere. It actually, what it does, it decreases the degradation of some of our own cannabinoids that we have in our body. For example, there's a cannabinoid that we make ourselves in our body that is called anandamide. So guess what? We're making our own cannabinoid in the system inside our body. So CBD decreases the degradation of that one, so we end up having more anandamide inside our body. And what happens is this: anandamide binds to the CB2 receptors in our body, not in our brain. And usually what happens is this: it has anti-anxiety effects, anti-pain or analgesic effects. It has relaxation effects. It actually may have some effects in the appetite. Will have effects in the sense of well-being. Give you an idea or an example. Anandamide is actually part of some of the chocolates out there. So some people that they say that they're addicted to chocolate may be from the pleasure that they receive from anandamide. So we'll see if we have any questions coming up or anything like that, and we'll be happy to respond to those or answer. So, why would a human being then need CBD? And let me tell you this: most of the diseases of the humans come from inflammation processes. Inflammation processes can cause heart disease, rheumatic diseases, autoimmune diseases, cancers, you name it, pretty much everything. And it seems that those inflammation processes that are usually caused by lifestyle that I'm going to describe may be the ones that do not allow our system to produce our own cannabinoids, compounds like anandamide and others, to give ourselves this sensation of anti-inflammation, pleasure, well-being, less pain, more fluidity, and so forth. So if inflammation is the underlying problem, then we eventually may need some cannabinoids like CBD. That's the only one that is legal so far. In other states, they can use other kinds like THC, not in Texas. And I'm not familiar enough, and that's not the point of this conversation, to talk about THC or its psychoactive effects. We're just here for medical reasons. So, in any case, what causes inflammation? Well, bad food, bad sleep, bad, meaning decrease in physical activity, diabetes, high insulin, high sugar intake, smoking, obesity, and some other things like genetics that we cannot do much against, but we can do everything against the other ones that I already mentioned. So if this inflammation process that I already mentioned that underlines, that is the bottom line of multiple diseases, ensues in any one of our bodies, then perhaps we're going to be lacking our own endocannabinoid system activity, and that's when taking CBD oil, for example, would benefit. Now, as a man of science, I believe that we need tons of more research about marijuana, about the different components that I already said are at least 450, about the other 65 cannabinoids from marijuana, to find out exactly what role they should play in medicine. And at this point, I can only talk about CBD as a completely legal nutritional supplement, and I can tell you my experience. As I said, in medical school, I never heard anything about marijuana. I actually like pharmacology quite a bit as a very important assignment topic. And I I was very deeply into pharmacology for all medications that we have available, and again, never came across marijuana. I think that's extremely unfair. I think that we need to know the medical aspects of all plants, all medications, and you need to keep into consideration that marijuana has been around at least for maybe 5 or 6,000 years. So it's perhaps the oldest plant that we know, came from Asia, but it now is ubiquitous pretty much in the world. So again, more research is needed, but in the meantime, the most humbling experiences that I've had in medicine have come from CBD oil itself, which is not psychoactive. It is not a doping or stoning supplement. It's just a regular supplement that allows your inside cannabinoid system or endocannabinoid system to work better, to its better potential. That's the way it works. And when I say humbling experiences, it comes from all the way from my parents having a lot of pain, not being able to walk much, had a problem with my mom, one of her knees, and I decided to use those on them. And my experience next day was is great. They were able to walk in a better position without the pain, sleep better, be more relaxed, and so forth. Then I started using it in some other people, patients, friends, and so forth. And the experience in those people that really need it is being just amazing. I really believe that they have a very important place currently in those conditions that I mentioned. I would even go further to say that there's data to support their use in some other areas, which they're being researched at this point, but like obesity, better sleep, autism, cancer, and other conditions that are very, very prevalent and important in our society. We'll see if we have any questions right now. And it says, where can I find CBD oil? Well, you can probably go online, or you can go to some smoke stores and places like that. Just a word of caution here. CBD oil has to have a sort of like an excipient or a base oil to be diluted in so we can drink it. And I've seen a lot of products using safflower or other oils. And unfortunately, those oils have omega-6, which we don't consider very healthy. In fact, they actually have inflammatory reactions. So again, be careful with that. You can go to a reputable place like a clinic and so. Texas Integrative Medicine and Cardiology has its own. And the oil based on that one is MCT oil, which is middle chain triglycerides. That's a very healthy kind of oil, which actually we use as a nutrition supplement. So you would be killing two birds with one stone in those cases. And should you be interested, you can go to our website and try to order, or again, you can go anywhere else if it's a reputable place to buy CBD oil. The dose may vary depending on the preparation, so read the labels or talk to the physician if that physician is knowledgeable about CBD oil. Let's see if there's another question here. What can you tell us about the use of CBD oil for obesity? Well, not a whole lot at this point. We don't have a lot of data on it for that matter. I can tell you though that if the obesity comes from an anxiety, craving of eating specific foods, then treating the anxiety will help. CBD oil, very successfully so, can treat anxiety, and in that circumstances, I may say it may play a role. However, beyond that, I don't think I have other comments on that question. Let's see if there are any other questions. What is Anandamide. Okay, anandamide, it is Anandamide. Anandamide is a compound that we produce ourselves. It's actually a neurotransmitter, which means that it works in our brain cells, but also in other neural cells everywhere else in our body that there are. And as we secrete it, it binds to those receptors that I mentioned, CB1 and CB2, in the brain and other places in our body, and give pleasure, relaxation, sense of well-being, perhaps anti-inflammatory effects, and maybe other effects that we at this point do not know. So when you take CBD oil, you are improving the effect of anandamide, that neurotransmitter that we ourselves produce in our own body. So again, CBD oil is not a drug. CBD oil is not psychoactive. CBD oil, in fact, does not even bind to the cannabinoid receptors in our body. It works by decreasing the metabolism or degradation of anandamide. And there are some healthy foods, vegetables, cocoa comes from chocolate, that have anandamide themselves. So that's why we always include dark chocolate and healthy vegetables in our diets, for the use of anandamide, which is natural. At this point, I do not see any other questions. Are there any questions around there? Apparently there's one in here. Give me 1 second if I can see it. Oh. Well, there's a bunch of comments, congratulations and so forth. Oh, here it is. What is the recommended dose? Mona, the recommended dose is going to be depending on the preparation. In general, we go with 25, 50, 75 milligrams of true CBD oil. But since it's diluted on other oils, as I said, sometimes the dose turns out to be about 500 to 1,000 milligrams. I certainly at this point would say that you may want to have some guidance from a healthcare provider that is knowledgeable about CBD oil or any other cannabinoids. Okay, other people watching us just sending little comments. Thank you very much, guys. I don't see another question, so I believe we're going to finish in here. Short talk about CBD oil, its use, the fact that it has no psychoactive effects, the safety of its use, and just be careful where you get it. Oh, here we go. There's another question here. Does it help fibromyalgia? Oh man, that's a very important question. And if I have seen any improvements in conditions, fibromyalgia will be on top of that list. Fibromyalgia is hugely improved with CBD oil. Keep in mind the following. Fibromyalgia is the end result of inflammation. And inflammation, as I said, comes from multiple sources. So in our society, we always say that, we're looking for the magic pill. Well, medicine and health should not be like that. If there's fibromyalgia, we need to make sure that we cover all the underlying problems, issues, the root of the matter of what's causing fibromyalgia. And I give an analogy that I've took from Dr. Bredesen. Imagine that we have a leak on the roof and we go up there and we fix it by patching the one hole that there is in the roof. Well, medicine is not like that. Health is not like that. Usually there is not one hole, so we need to patch multiple holes. There's going to be 30. In the case of Alzheimer's, for example, Dr. Bredesen mentions 36 holes. I can tell you that we can find 40 holes or so. And if we do not cover all of them one by one slowly at the same time with practical ways of doing it, not by 40 pills, then we cannot claim that we're really helping the problem from its, from the roots of what's causing it. Other nice comments. Thank you very much, guys. Okay, Noe is asking that, is this something we can give to our pets as well? I've heard it can help them with cancer. Okay, I'm not a vet, and everything I'm going to say comes from experience, my own, and some of my patients' comments. Um, we know animals also have an endocannabinoid system. And as long as we are using them from the same purposes of humans, which now we can comment on, which are inflammation, anxiety, pain, um, then I believe is going to be helpful. I have one of my patients telling me that his dog, 13, 14 years of age or so, with severe arthritis, couldn't walk until he thought about giving CBD oil. And he noted the difference the next day. The dog cannot function without CBD oil. So based on that one case, I can tell you that, yes, it makes sense that it could help. I cannot comment any further than that because I'm not a vet, and we would need to have more data to be able to say something else here. Okay, Sally's asking, what about immunosuppressed patients? We would need to know what kind of immunosuppression, but let's talk about general immunosuppressed patients. CBD oil doesn't bind to the CB or cannabinoid receptors. It works by increasing our own endocannabinoids that we produce. So they act better, they last longer, and so forth. Given that, I would say that you bet CBD oil can easily be used. Whether it will improve the immunosuppression, I cannot tell you. I don't think we have data. Now, extrapolating to the data of THC, which is what we refer to when we say marijuana. Yeah, there's data to say that it may help in cancer patients, but in the state of Texas, we don't have that right now, and I don't think I can comment any further because of that. So you may want to go to a state where THC, marijuana, is legal. You may want to write to your congressman. You may want to write to your representatives to see if in Texas we can have that legislation coming up. Actually, just to mention something on this line, yesterday, Canada as a country, second country in the world, approved the recreational use of marijuana like that. So I am not saying that we need to have the recreational use of marijuana open or wide open. We have to be careful because as any drug, especially psychoactive drugs, we need to understand everything about the drug that can cause problems. Having said that, keep in mind that opioids right now is the most common cause of mortality among young people in the northeast of the United States. Opioids, which are legally prescribed with a special prescription, are causing a huge crisis. And overdosing opiates is killing people. Those people that do not get killed by the overdose, eventually, a lot of them end up having severe mental issues, and some of them, I believe it's like 30% or so, commit suicide. So we have a major crisis with opiates, and they're legally prescribed. I just would like to extrapolate that information into the marijuana world, and I would say, wait, we need more information, we need more research, but to me, it's a safer drug, what we can see. But again, going back to our topic, CBD oil doesn't have the psychoactive effects of marijuana, so I don't want to deviate from that. Other comments in here, very nice comments. Thank you very much, guys. Okay, one more question from David. Are there any side effects? Not that we know, and just going over the way it works, which I've described twice, I don't think we're going to be seeing any side effects. Side effects can come, though, from the oil that is being diluted in this case, some oils that I do not recommend to take, like safflower, But if it comes from MCT oil and so forth, I don't see any issues whatsoever. So we're not aware of any significant side effects. Remember, CBD doesn't do the job. It allows our inside system to do the work for us. So there's a difference there. Other very nice comments. Thank you very much. And I think we're going to probably end up here. I, like always, would like to thank you for your attention. We'll do this conversation from time to time. We need your feedback to see if you're interested or not. And also would like to hear about some topics that you may want us to get on in the list of topics to be discussed here, in 15, 20-minute capsule of a live session. So thank you guys. See you next time.